Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Hot Mess Life Coach, coming at you live-ish Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I say live-ish because I am figuring out a new aspect of my technology, which is pre-recording on Tuesday. So I'm time traveling, and right now for you, it's Wednesday morning at 10:30, but for me, it's Tuesday afternoon at 4:50, and I'm recording this video now to share it with you live tomorrow so that I can continue to show up when I said I would show up, even though I'm going to be on a plane tomorrow, or I'm on a plane right now to Cabo, Mexico to visit an old friend of mine. So that's very exciting. And I just want to welcome you on this beautiful Tuesday/Wednesday to episode 3 of Hot Mess Life Coach. This is the show for people trying to get it together while the world seems to be falling apart. And I am your host, Hot Mess Life Coach, Brian Hogan. Today, what I want to talk to you guys about is the problem with certainty, which is a perfect topic because I am totally uncertain as to whether or not this technological thing I'm trying is going to work, if it's going to actually be Tuesday/Wednesday when you finally see this, or if it's going to be Wednesday/Thursday, or if it's going to be never/how the heck did I do this? But either way, the problem with certainty is myriad. Actually, there are lots and lots of problems with certainty. So let's just dive right in on this beautiful Tuesday/Wednesday morning and see what we come up with. Okay, let's get to it. Certainty doesn't cause innovation. Certainty doesn't create. Certainty stops us dead in our tracks, like quicksand, and then we become intractable. We become intractable in our tracks. That's certainty. When I'm sure of something, I will stop exploring that thing. I stop investigating. I stop becoming curious because I know it. I know it for sure. I know the Democrats are better than the Republicans. I know the Republicans are better than the Democrats. I know whatever it is that I think I know, and it stops me from relating. It stops me from connecting. It stops me from exploring. It stops me dead in my tracks from being curious. That is the problem with certainty. When I'm sure of something, I no longer have any reason to ask any questions. So when I was younger, I was a born-again Christian for probably 7 years in high school and a little while after high school. And I sometimes joke now that I died again. But, this is nothing against, if you're a born-again Christian, that's fine, because I truly believe that whatever belief system empowers you is a belief system worth holding on to. But for me, the certainty that there was only one way to heaven and that there was only one way to move forward kept me from seeing all of these other ways to create heaven on earth, to live in the heavenly realm right now. And there was no reason for me to explore that, to think of that as a possibility, because I had to feel guilty, and I had to say sorry, and I had to, wait till I died to get to the heavenly realm. And I was certain that that was true. I was also certain that I needed to become straight. And the effects of that were that I alienated myself. I never built or joined a queer community. I came out of the closet in stages. I came out when I was 17. And when I was 17, I kind of just like stuck my foot out, and I was like, hey, mom, and also to one of my buddies. And I was like, by the way, I like cock. But I also said it, and I said it in the same breath. I was like, but, however, I am struggling with my homosexuality, and I am waiting for the healing light to make me straight and renounce all that and put it all behind me. And it took me 6 years until I went to Oberlin College, which is like, straight people want to go down on you. Oberlin College is just like a crazy place where there's so much open-mindedness that people they just have no idea about that there are even categories of sexuality. Everyone's just trying things like it's a buffet, and you're just one of the appetizers, which was great, but also a little overwhelming. Anyway, all of that is to say, when I was 23 and I was a sophomore in college, I finally came out of the closet sort of all the way. I was like, ta-da, okay, this is me, world. And it was met with all of this non-fanfare, because everybody was like, yeah, we know, which made me realize that my closet was made of French doors, and everybody could see what I was doing in there that whole time. And I was like, oh my God, wow, okay, good to know. But I was certain that I needed to become straight. And so it kept me from inviting in all the love and acceptance and kindness and peace that was there for me when I actually finally embraced my true self, came out of the closet, and said, this is who I am. And so I needed to have a little bit of uncertainty about whether or not homosexuality was wrong. I needed to have a little bit of uncertainty about whether there was only one way to heaven in order for me to create heaven on earth now in my life, and in order for me to invite love in from people that I was writing off originally and saying, you're going to hell. Sorry. Like, I hate that that's true. I wish it wasn't true because I don't want you to go there. But, you know, the book says so. So right here, you know, Penal Code 14-Corinthians 7:4 says it. So it is what it is. But it wasn't true. I was wrong. But I had no way of knowing I was wrong because I was certain. And I'm not saying that the Bible is wrong or that Christians are wrong. I'm saying that my certainty kept love away from me. And you could be certain about anything, and it will keep love away from you. You can, and I'm not saying this to separate anyone from their beliefs. Our beliefs are a beautiful thing, especially when they're empowering beliefs that hold us up. There's a lot of scientific evidence to suggest that an empowering belief in a benevolent creator actually helps your body heal, and it helps you live longer. There's a book I'm reading called The Genie in Your Genes by Dr. Dawson Church, and he's one of the founders of EFT tapping, which is the emotional freedom technique. That's this, even though I have some kind of problem, I love and accept myself, and you tap away, and it works, and it's awesome, and I'm getting certified in that modality right now. But he talks about epigenetics and the science behind how empowering beliefs can actually change our brain in such a way that we become more whole, that we become more optimistic, that we become stronger, not through toxic positivity BS, not through pretending things aren't a certain way. That's what toxic positivity is. It's pretending to be positive when you don't really mean it. And then that's toxic because it's a lie. And so it's actually not positive, it's negative because it's a lie. But learning to adopt empowering beliefs that you can really believe has been shown by numerous random controlled trials and scientific meta-analyses to create healing in the human body. So having certainty about a belief in a God you must fear, or a belief in a God who's going to send a whole part of the population to hell, is not going to help your body heal. Now, I personally believe Jesus's compassion is unmatched. He's one of the most loving beings that we have ever had writings about in recorded history. It is not Jesus that is the problem. It's the church's way of using this beautiful man to say we all have to behave in exactly a certain way in order to pass through him and get to heaven. Jesus said the opposite. He said the church is within your heart. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Love one another. He basically tried to render the church irrelevant. And now we have the church standing in the way at the gates of heaven. Not just Christian churches, like sort of all organized religions do this because of their certainty. It's their certainty and their unwillingness to embrace nuance and to embrace uncertainty that they alienate. And that's what certainty does in our personal lives too. I was certain that I needed to reject the homosexual part of me, and it kept a lot of love, acceptance, and internal kindness at bay. Back in our human history, we had certainty about the world being flat. We had certainty about the sun revolving around the earth. Okay, and this just in, we were wrong. Super duper wrong on both counts. And in fact, somebody named Galileo kind of like rotted in jail for a big old bunch of his life because he tried to say, are we sure? Are you sure? Because I think if we are willing to question it and think maybe the earth revolves around the sun, it could actually lead to a whole bunch of awesome scientific discoveries that could liberate humankind. And people are like, no. We're certain you're wrong. No. But what did that do? That just kept scientific advancement at bay for centuries. We were certain up until about 1940 something that the 4-minute mile was impossible. It's impossible. We're certain of it. Humans cannot do that. They just can't. It's never going to happen. They cannot do it. And then one day somebody did a mile in less than 4 minutes, and boom, okay, we were wrong again. And here's the beautiful thing about this story is that after humans saw that it was possible for someone to break the 4-minute mile, the following year, a whole slew of people, just a whole pile of people broke the 4-minute mile too. Like a giant bunch of runners that all thought a year ago it was impossible now saw and knew that it was possible, and they broke that record. So their certainty that it was impossible kept them from achieving a higher potential. And when they became uncertain about the impossibility of something, and in fact almost became certain about the possibility, and being certain about a possibility is not the same as being certain about dogma, because by its very nature, it's a possibility, it's a potential. And so you can't be sure of it, but you can be determined towards it. That's what faith is. Faith is having a certainty in something that isn't seen, not a certainty in your opinion. We've been trained to be certain about impossibility. We've been trained to be certain about our opinions. We've been trained to be certain about politics, to be certain about our hopes and dreams. But what if we are wrong? What if our politics are wrong? What if our beliefs about the afterlife are simply incorrect or incomplete? What if we hope and dream for things culture taught us to want that aren't right for us? And so our hopes and dreams are even wrong. Not wrong as in bad or we're terrible for dreaming them, but wrong as in they were taught to us. They're not aligned with our true nature. The antidote to certainty, which by extension is the antidote to dogma, chaos, and all forms of impasse, is curiosity. The antidote to certainty is curiosity. I like to say we call death certain because certainty is deadly, not because death is a certainty. Certainty is deadly. That's why death is certain. In fact, in many mystical texts, they say the opposite. The main message of the Hindu Upanishads, for example, is that death is an illusion. And when we come from the perspective of the universal, we can know that death is an illusion deep in our core. And when we do know that, we are certain of only that and at peace with uncertainty about everything else. So what's the expression? There's nothing certain in life but death and taxes, right? Well, now we're starting to see death is actually not certain either. It's illusory. According to mystics from many cultures across the ages, death is not certain. In fact, it's a myth. So if death is a myth, what about taxes? And I mean, I would say if you know enough about the games the wealthy elites play, taxes certainly aren't certain either. They are entirely dodgeable, just like the pitfalls and dogma and rigidly held beliefs about certainty. It's dodgeable. Andrew Newberg, MD, in a book called How Enlightenment Changes the Brain, he tells the story of how he had a mystical experience that transformed him. And essentially this mystical experience consisted of him starting to doubt everything. He just went into this place of, I forget what he called, inspired doubt. I think I have that wrong, but it's close to that. And he essentially realized that he knew nothing and how freeing that was for him and for a colleague who eventually heard the story to realize that they know nothing and they were on this search for enlightenment. And as they were searching for enlightenment to write this book about how enlightenment changes the brain, they realized they knew nothing about how enlightenment works, and it freed them up. In fact, it lightened them up to let go of certainty, to let go of the search for certainty, and instead to embrace doubt. My favorite life coach and mentor, Martha Beck, just coached me earlier today in a training program that I'm in. And she said, the opposite of fear is not fearlessness, it is curiosity. And I could not agree more. Certainty is not the way out of fear. Certainty is a fear mechanism. Our brains like to do two things. They like to control everything and everyone, and they like to create theories about how to escape fear. This is also something Martha told me. And so certainty is a fear response that the brain does to try to control the fear. Okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to figure this out. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And if I have this formula, if I have this roadmap, then I don't have to feel fear because I have certainty about the way forward. She reminded me that hope and fear are two sides of the same coin because they are both built on uncertainty, but they are also both laden with what-if scenarios. Certainty is an illusion too. It's like the flailing, fearful mind uses it to protect us, but to make us right and them wrong, whoever they are. So certainty divides us. I mean, nobody likes a know-it-all, right? I certainly don't, except in my case, I am totally right. And so you can take what I say to the bank. But besides for me, you can be uncertain about everybody else. Okay, so in this book, How Enlightenment Changes the Brain, Dr. Newberg says, the CIA puts all new recruits through a 7-step process where they have to systematically doubt everything they've ever believed, literally everything. And they have to step into the perspectives of others. And the reason they do this is because the ability to live in this kind of uncertainty and to step in the perspective of others and see the world as they see it simply just makes them better spies. So they ask this question of themselves: what if X belief is wrong? What if my opinion about Y is wrong? What if my understanding about Z is wrong? And you fill in X, Y, Z with whatever your certainty is, whatever your certain belief, opinion, or piece of knowledge is. And then they contemplate it. They're forced to contemplate it, to write about it, to discuss it. And it opens them up into this world where in uncertainty, they are able to be flexible, to be yielding, and to go with the flow of whatever the mission brings to them. So, don't we all want to be better spies? I would much rather be a really adept spy at spying my false and limiting beliefs, at spying my weaknesses, at spying my inconsistencies and blind spots. And one of the ways we can do that is to use the same CIA training and basically just like doubt ourselves. Not self-doubt as in like, I don't think I can do it, but to doubt our certainty that says, I'm certain I cannot do it. We doubt that part. We doubt the part that is certain about our limits. And we doubt the part that is certain about our dogma, and the part that is certain about childhood beliefs that we inherited that may or may not even be ours. Genius is essentially being able to hold two opposing ideas rather, in your head at the same time. So that's literally the very definition of uncertainty too. So genius and uncertainty are very similar. So if you're uncertain, you're closer to genius than any would-be know-it-all dogmatic crazy person could ever be. So just keep that in mind. It's okay to be uncertain, and it actually kind of makes you a genius. So we want to become humble questioners, because a humble questioner inspires us to question. They make questioning safe, and they make us feel safe in our uncertainty. And we love that. Think about Michelle Pfeiffer or in Dangerous Minds, or Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society. I'm a college professor myself, so I like those examples because I relate to them, but they are examples of characters who inspire people to wonder about stuff, to embrace curiosity, to be okay knowing that they don't know what they don't know. So it's okay not to know. And I want to leave you guys with this. There's an exercise from, it's a book called The Genius Zone by an author named Gay Hendricks, and he asks this question. I like to call it the wonder question, or actually he might have called it the wonder question in his book. I don't know, but I love that title. And so that's what we're going to call it. And the wonder question is this: how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? Because that question right there seems immediately like an impossibility to most people. We think we're certain that we can't do that. I cannot spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world. I can't. I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I have meetings. I have children. I have this. I have that. Da, 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 da. But that's certainty. And if you hold that certainty about this limit, then you aren't ever going to be able to find a way. A way won't open up to you. So just get curious. Shake off your certainty for a minute, and I'm going to take you guys through a 3-step exercise that you can also take with you and do on your own. And if you find this useful, then please share this video with people who might also get something out of this exercise, so that they can also benefit from embracing uncertainty. So essentially the exercise is this: get contemplative, just get quiet, take a few deep breaths. And then ask yourself, how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? That's step 1. And then just listen for an answer. And in fact, say it out loud 2 times. That's actually step 1, to say it out loud twice. How can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? And then step 2 is really simple. You say it out loud again 2 times, and this time you just add the linguistic tag, I wonder, in front of the sentence. So it starts to inspire curiosity. Instead of it being a problem, how can I do this? Oh, that's a problem. You say, I wonder, how can I do this? And then it becomes a puzzle to solve instead of a problem to solve. It becomes a puzzle to crack, a puzzle to win, a game. So step 2 is like this: I wonder, how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? I wonder, how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? And then step 3, it's a little bit silly, but that's okay, because playfulness and silliness and that relaxed, calm state is what opens up the creativity mindset. And it's what inspires us to get curious and to see curious as a fun game we can play. So the third step is simply to add the linguistic tag, and you actually can also do like this on your chin, like the emoji that does this, and you go, and you do it out loud, and you do it really playfully, like almost like a cartoon. And then you say the phrase again, I wonder, how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? And you do it like this. I wonder, how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I most love while making my greatest contribution to the world? I wonder, how can I spend the majority of my time doing what I love while making the greatest contribution to the world? And you just sit with it that way. You sit with it in curiosity, in wonderment, and you wonder about it, and you let yourself contemplate it for fun, not to be attached to the outcome, but just for fun, just to get curious. And that way of playing with curiosity breaks down the feeling of certainty that it's not possible. And then suddenly, whatever your 4-minute mile is, whatever you thought was impossible in your life, you can break it down. And then the people around you see you doing the impossible, and they start doing the impossible in their life. And then so on, and then so on, and then so on. And then the world changes. So it is like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And I know that sounds trite to us now because we've heard all that before, but it's true. And this is how it's true. You deeply find a way to reconfigure the certainty within you into curiosity, into uncertainty, into being a dogged detective on the chase of your wildest dreams that come from your true heart, not from culture. And then you break down those impossible walls. And as you do it, you inspire yourself to do it again. And you inspire others to do it for the first time. And then suddenly, all those things that seemed impossible seem entirely possible. And then as enough time goes by, they seem ordinary. And there are new impossible things that you can get curious about. And then you laugh through those and you play through those, and then they become possible. And then they become ordinary, and so on and so on and so on, until we're living in this extraordinarily ordinary world, this extraordinary ordinary world where all things are possible, even if they seem impossible. And all we have to do to get there is know that we don't know what we don't know. You know? Just get curious. All right. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you all tuning in today. And I just want to say it is always a privilege to be here with you on this Wednesday/Tuesday. Even though the show always airs on Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning Eastern time, I'm recording from yesterday. So as a time traveler to my beautiful people out there watching, I just want to say thank you for tuning in the future/the present as I come at you from the past. If you want to learn more about what I do, you can go to lifestoryhacking.com down below. And I would also love it if you would just share this episode with anyone who you think might benefit from it. Thank you so much. I love you all. See you next week, where I will be broadcasting from Mexico. Yay. Okay. Talk to you soon. All love. Bye.